Okay, and we're live. So we can wait like a couple of minutes while we wait for more people to trickle in. Okay. So I think we can get started now. So hello, my name is Emma.
Hi, I'm Osheen.
And today we'll be bringing you a Intro to CAD workshop for HackTable 2020. And we're Everstem Education, like in collaboration with FTC Team 18225 High Definition. And so if you've downloaded our software that we're going to use today, then you can feel free to follow along. If not, then that's also fine. You can just watch us do it. And if you're interested, you can go back and watch. And unfortunately, like Osheen has some construction going on, so she won't be able to be speaking, but she'll be doing the demonstrations for the software. Right. So without further ado, let's get started. So we split our workshop into two parts. And so in the first part, we'll be introducing you to CAD and also introducing you to the user interface of the software that we're using. And then we're going to demonstrate sketches and also extrusions, which are like negative and positive extrusions, extruding, and like extrusion cuts. And then we're going to do some demonstrations of that, including using those skills to make a chair. So CAD stands for Computer-Aided Design, and it's a software that is used to create 2D or 3D models, drawings, or illustrations, and it's used by a lot of industry professionals. And feel free to ask any questions you may have throughout the presentation. And also, if you do plan on CADing, we recommend to use a mouse. So CAD has a lot of different capabilities, and just with a little bit of practice, you can make these things yourself. So if you see in the top right, this is a 3D printing of a geometric object, and by CADing objects, you can easily print them out, and just like you can make little trinkets and stuff with just a little bit of practice. And if you look in the bottom left, this is a fidget spinner, and this is also something you could CAD. So you could CAD the outline and then as a part, and then assemble the bearings inside of it. And then we'll go more into what parts and assemblies are later on. Here we have a CNC. So you can also create models for CNC machining. And these are just some of the possibilities. So we just looked at some simpler models and such, but there's a lot more that could be achieved with CAD. So if you're really good at CAD, you could model a modern house, as you can see over here. It's a modern house with solar panels and such. There's also a space shuttle, and then also a model of a car, and you can really see the inner workings of the car and see the intricate work that goes behind creating a car and modeling a car. So there's a lot of different CAD softwares that are used, and the one that we will be using today is PTC Creo Parametric. And the reason we've chosen this software is because it's accessible and free to download for students, and it's also used by industry professionals. Okay, so let's introduce you to PTC Creo. So when you open a PTC Creo, you want to either make a new file, and usually you want to make a new part or assembly, and we'll go more in that in the next slide. But once you want to assemble multiple parts together or work from one file, something you should do is you click Select Working Directory. And basically what this does is that it allows you to once you want to open a file, it just directs you to that place immediately. So why don't we go over to Osheen, and then she can show that to you. So Osheen here is clicking Select Working Directory, and then we're going to go to How to Almost Anything, and then DC Sub. And so by selecting that, then when she tries to click Open, then it just opens automatically to this folder, and that's pretty convenient. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. So now let's talk about parts versus assemblies. So parts is a standalone piece you create by itself. So as you can see, this is a singular piece. And then what an assembly is a collection of parts. So it's a bunch of parts assembled together, basically. And then this is a deep sea sub, and as you can see, there's like a lot of different components, and these are all just like the different parts it's made out of. Okay, and then for the deep sea sub, this is a model tree, and what the model tree does is it shows the order of the steps like the user took to create all these parts and assemble this assembly. So if you look at this one, there's a top where it says atoms, and that's where it shows all the different planes that you edit on, and then you can see those here as well. These are like the planes that you can edit on. And then there's also the different parts. So because this deep sea sub is an assembly, it's made out of different parts. And as you can see here, there's a lot of different parts like the right and left wing, the cockpit, and these are all assembled together to make this one assembly. And then if you want to add other parts, you can click insert here. Okay, so now let's go over some navigation, which is like pretty essential if you want to start CADing. So the first thing to do is you click your scroll wheel and rotate your model by moving your mouse. So let's move over to Osheen. So as you can see, you can rotate your model by pressing down the scroll wheel and then rotating. Could you rotate a little bit more? Yeah, so this way you can see like all the different sides of your model. And then next, let's scroll forward and backwards to zoom in and out. So let's go. So you press down the scroll button and do that. So let's go back to Osheen. So if you scroll in and out, then you can see that you can zoom in and out. Okay, and then the final one that you have to know for now is for navigation is clicking Shift and the scroll wheel. And what this does is it pans it like any direction you want. So let's go to Osheen, and then she can demonstrate that. So you can just move it to like wherever you want, basically. And those are all the navigation skills and tools that you need to know for now. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So next, and in addition to navigation, display options are also very important. So one of the things you can do is refit. So it moves the main model back into focus. So let's go to Osheen and just like scroll like really far out, like zoom very far out. So like if it's zoomed far out and like you might actually have trouble like finding your model, like you could be like, oh my god, it's gone, like where did it go? So we can you can click that, which is a refit, and then it just brings you back to the main focus. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. The next one is viewing it from different orientations. So there's different orientations like front, like bottom, top, left, right, and you can choose at which angle you want to view that at. So let's go to Osheen. So if you click on that, you can see the different options, and then there's back, there's bottom, and then you can choose anything, and this is isometric. Okay, cool. Another thing is the Denim display filters. So if you noticed earlier, we had a lot of like the filters on, and we want to turn that off just for clear view. So let's go back to Osheen. So as you can see here, there are the different like Denims that are being displayed, and if you don't want to see that, you can just like deselect it. And this make it a lot like easier. Like if you think that those get in the way and like just like bother you, it's up to personal preference. Okay. And then next is the different display styles. So let's go back to Osheen. And this display styles, so there's a lot of different kinds. The one we have right now is shading. That's the one you typically want to use. There's also other ones like wireframe, and you might want to use that if you have like, if you want to like see through your object. And it just up to like, depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're really extra, you can do like shading with reflections, and it shows like your part or assembly with reflections. Okay, let's go back to the slides. So now let's get into 2D sketching. So how this works is you choose one of the planes to start on, and then you use like shapes or line tools to draw what you want. So a note is that you want your shape to be closed, otherwise your sketch to be closed, closed shape, otherwise it won't let you finish the sketch. So let's go over to Osheen. So let's go with, so you can start a new part file by clicking new part. And also right now we're doing a sketch and we aren't using the sketch file because the part file, you can sketch it and it's like virtually the same. And for the purposes of our workshop, we will be mostly making parts and assemblies. So you can get park and then okay, and then you can name it whatever you want. So how you want to sketch things is we click sketch and then you choose the plane you want to sketch it on. So maybe like right. And then something you can choose, you can click zoom to fit to your plane. So like before it was like not in the correct orientation, but now it is. So as you can see, there's a lot of different shapes in the corner, and that's kind of like the different shapes in like, I guess like other tools, like you can compare it to like Microsoft Paint, Illustrator, that kind of stuff. And you just like use these different shapes and lines and such to draw sketches. So Osheen has just used a rectangle tool to draw a rectangle. And then once you do that, you can click OK. And then if it fills in, that means it's correct. It works out. Right now, it looks like it's in a different view, but if you move around, yeah, you can see the sketch. And something you can also do is change the dimensions afterwards. So what we can do is you can go back in the sketch. You can click the sketch and then click the second one, it's like edit feature or customize. And then you can refocus it. And then as you can see, they show like the dimension. So you can change that. So you can make it a lot smaller. You can do whatever you want. And the default is in inches, but you can change that pretty easily. So you can do that by going to File, then Prepare, and then Model Properties. And then when you see next to Units, you can change it to whatever units you prefer to use. Okay, cool. Let's move back to the PowerPoint. So now we're going to do a demonstration with sketching like more intricate or like just like a little bit more like shapes going on in the sketch. So we're going to sketch a bedroom, a floor plan of a bedroom. And if you have Creo, then you could feel free to follow along. And if not, if you're interested, you can try this later on. So let's go back to Osheen. So you do the same thing, you go to the sketch mode, and then you kind of just like draw whatever you want. Do you want to turn off the Denim planes? Okay. So it looks like Osheen here is drawing like the walls of a room. And then a bed. And then if you don't want your shapes to be shaded in, like once you do it, you can go to inspect and then you can click shade closed loops or like unclick it so that you don't see the shaded in shapes. So there's a door, table, and like a chair. So it kind of just is like drawing normal like sketches as you would do anywhere. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So next we're going to talk about extrusions. Hopefully you're a bit familiar with sketches by now. So extrusions are basically just transforming a 2D sketch into a 3D shape. So there are like positive and negative extrusions, and we're talking about positive extrusions first. So positive extrusions kind of just like if you have like a rectangle, you can just like make it 3D by stretching it out. So let's go over to Osheen and she can demonstrate this. So you do the same thing by you can make a sketch and then you can like draw whatever you want inside the sketch. And then what you can do is you can extrude the sketch. So if you like select it and then you can click extrude, then it makes it into a 3D shape. And you can also change like how much you want to extrude it through the depth. So like there's 100 and that's like a less extruded. And then when you click OK, then you just have a 3D shape. Okay, let's go back to the slides. So in addition to like positive extrusions, also negative extrusions or extrude cuts. And what that does is it does basically the same thing where you have a sketch and then it cuts that part away. So in this case, this is a positive extrusion of like a hexagon, and then they drew a circle on top of it, and then they cut a hole through that. So let's go back to Osheen. So Osheen, why don't you cut like some sort of hole inside of our extrusion? So you can click the face and then sketch there, and then zoom to fit, and then just draw any object you want, or any shape you want. And then, so it looks like Osheen's drawn another square, so you can select that and then click extrude. And then what you do is, so right now it's positive, but you can change the direction, and now it's negative. And you don't have to make it cut all the way through. You can have it cut like part way through, or like just depending on whatever you want. Okay, cool. So now we have a box that we made using positive and negative extrusions. Let's go back to the slides. So now we're going to do a demonstration with the different skills that we've just acquired. So let's make a chair, and you can just take a moment to think about like how do you think this would be made. So there are a lot of different ways, and you could make it like out of like negative and positive extrusions, like just positive extrusions. Like it really depends on like how you want to make your chair and what kind of chair you want to make. So let's go over to Osheen and she can demonstrate this. So looks like she's starting by having a sketch and then drawing a rectangle inside. And this can act as like the base of the seat, like sorry, the base of the chair, so like the seat. And then she can extrude that to make it 3D, and then change it to an appropriate number. Okay. And then now she can select a face of the extrusion and then sketch on top of that. So if she refits, then she can draw like the backing of the chair, and that's just like the back. So she can do the same thing and extrude that. And then she can just change the depth to whatever she wants it to be. And so now she has the backing of the chair. And then now she can do the same thing but to the bottom of the chair, and then she can add in the legs of the chair. So she can draw like 4 rectangles on each side, and that can act as the legs of the chair. And then once you click OK and click out of the sketch, you can select these and then extrude. So she selected sketch 3, and then now she's going to extrude it. So I'm going to like zoom in so that the chair is like upright. So now you have a full chair, and if you're able to make this in a good job, this is like already a really good step, because extrusions and negative extrusions are like so important in like making the basic parts and the models. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So we've just finished part 1, so if you have any questions about what we just covered, now would be the time. And then we can move on to part 2. So let's move on to part 2 now. So in part 2, we'll be covering revolving a sketch across over an axis, and then we're going to do a demonstration with revolving by making a chess piece. And then we'll be demonstrating rounding, chamfering, and shelling, and also learn how to change the appearance or material that the part is made out of. And then we'll be doing another demonstration with revolving a vase and then also shelling, using the shell tool to shell the vase and also color the tool by changing the appearance. And then at the end, we have a short project for you to do after the workshop if you're interested. And also we're going to show you how to analyze parts by like measuring like the volume, the mass, and all that kind of stuff. So revolving. So what revolving does is it revolves your 2D sketch around an axis. So as you can see, there are two parts here, and these are both made from the same sketch, but around different axes. So as you can see, this part right here is revolved around this axis, and then this part on the lower right is revolved around the longer axis over here. So now Osheen will demonstrate how to make a pawn chess piece by using Revolve. So let's go over to Osheen. So Osheen's in a sketch, and then first she's going to draw like the axis that she wants to revolve around. And then what you want to do is draw half the chess piece. So you just draw, because you're going to rotate around the middle, so you only want half of it. If you think about like the one that's like paper construction things you do where you like fold it in half and like you cut it, that's what basically this is. So that's like the, Osheen just drew the base of the chess piece. It looks like now she's drawing the different ridges of the chess piece. And then she's going to use the center and ends to draw the sphere or circle on the top of the chess piece. So you click where you want the center of your circle to be, and then you click one of the ends, and then you kind of just drag it wherever you want that to be drawn. Okay. And she's drawing more lines. And then for the center, she's going to use a conic in order to draw a curved line. So if you select one point and then the end point of that, you can kind of like bend it to like however you want. It's like that. Okay. And then you can delete that line. And then now something you have to do is if you scroll in, wait, let's go back. So as you can see, there's like overlapping, so you want to get rid of that. So okay, when you see red squares, that means there is some sort of error with your sketch and you have to get rid of those. So in this case, how you do it is you do like delete segment, and then you click the segment that is like overlapping. So it's that segment, and then you want to get rid of it. And then you can click OK. Okay, now if you zoom out, you can see we have half a chess piece. And now you have to revolve it around that axis. So if you click revolve, and then you click that axis, then it just revolves around. That's a really nice chess piece, Osheen. And so now you have a chess piece. And so you can feel free to like try whatever you want, and just a really cool function for you to model. And so let's go back to the live stream. Okay, so now we will be covering rounding, chamfering, and shelling. So what shell does is it hollows out an object and you can make it however thick you want. And so if you want to make a box, you can just like make a giant rectangle and then just shell it to cut a hole in the middle. So let's just go with Osheen. So Osheen has a rectangle here, and then she can choose a side to shell. So if you click shell, or like that is round, Osheen. So you click shell, then you can just select any face you want. So why don't you select one of the smaller faces to see what happens. So right now this is one of the bigger faces, and then if you see the smaller faces, it does the same thing. Like it just shells out the entire thing. And then if you can make it however thick you want, so I don't know, let's make it like fairly thick. Okay, that's pretty thick. Yeah, so you can really shell it to like however you want. It's kind of just like making an extrusion in the center of your object. So if you click OK, then the shelling is now on the part. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. So next we have rounding, and what this does is it rounds the like the edges that you select. And what this says is like, because if you don't round things off, then it's basically like infinitely sharp. So you don't want that, especially when you're like 3D printing. So like this is something you can do. So let's go over to Osheen. So Osheen can select the round tool and then select the different edges she wants to round off. So like that one, like that one. And what this says is round the part, and you can also change how much you want to round it. So right now it's like not around that much, but Osheen could change it to like round it to a lot if she wanted to. So if she wanted to put like 20, that changes the part she just selected, and then why don't you change it back or to whatever you want. So now you have rounded edges, and if you click OK, then those will be applied. So if you zoom in, then you can see that the edges are now rounded and a lot more smooth. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So next is chamfering, and what chamfering does is it's basically the exact same thing as rounding, but it gives you flat edges instead of rounded edges. And so let's go back to Osheen again. So like Osheen could go to the other side of the box and then demonstrate chamfering. So you can click chamfer, and then similarly to round, you can just select the edges you want it to be applied to. So you can also change like how much you want it chamfered like before. And that would chamfer like that one side you just selected. So you click OK, you can see it applied. So if you look at the side, you can see the flatter edges, and then if you go to the other side after that, you can see that it's like the rounder edges. Yeah, okay. Cool. Let's move back to the PowerPoint. So now you'll be talking about appearances. So how this works is that you can choose different like colors and I guess like the kind of like the kind of like material appearance that you want your part to take on. So let's go back over to Osheen. So if you click view and then you click appearances, you can change it to like whatever color you want. You can make it like shiny if you wanted to. So Osheen could like choose blue, and then once she selects it, she can select all the like faces or like places that she wants it to be applied to. And then let's see. And then you can just select it, and then it just turns to what you want. So Osheen has selected a bright blue color for her part. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. In addition to changing like the physical appearance, you can actually change the material. So this is like pretty important when you want to make like calculations related to like mass and all that kind of stuff, and if you want like higher level simulations with your CAD. So let's go back to Osheen. So if you go to File, then Prepare, and then Model Properties, you can change your materials. And this is the same place we changed our units before. So if you see the material right now, you can click Change. And then they have like an entire library of different materials that you can use. So let's see. You might just change it to like whatever you want. Okay, so it looks like Osheen is experiencing some like tech issues, and that's okay. Just like, can you click exit out? I think that's fine. So basically, you just like select the folders. Oh, like it works again. Great. Okay, so you select the see if you want glass, you can select that, and then if it's like highlighted at the bottom, then you can click OK, and then now your material is made out of glass, and you can see that under material. And then let's go back to the slides. So now that you can, you have a nice like object going on, you can do some analysis on it. So let's go back to Osheen. So some things you can do is like just like you can measure like distances and all that kind of stuff. So if you go to like analysis, you can click measure, and then as you can see, there's like length, distance, angle, diameter, area, volume, transform, and these are all the different kind of things that you can use. So why don't you click one of them? Okay, so distance. So this can measure like the distance between like two like lines or like 2 points. And then see, it gives us the value. And that's the volume there. And there's just a lot of things you can measure. And that's why CAD is so useful, because it allows you to like do these things without like having to like, I don't know, like hand calculate them. Okay, let's go back to the slides. So now we're going to do one more demonstration, and that is using the Revolve, Shell, and Appearances tools to make a vase. So let's go over to Osheen. So Osheen's in a sketch right now, and then she's going to draw like similar to the chess piece. She's going to draw the axis she wants to revolve around, and that's like the center point. And then this is the base of her vase. And then she can use like the conic again to draw the curves in the vase. And then she can delete that line. And so right now, as you can see, like the shape isn't closed. That's why there's red lines or red squares. So you can fix that pretty easily just by like closing them. And then you can seal off the top. Okay, so before it was a little bit like angled, but now it's flat. And then once she clicks OK, then we have the sketch. So now we just need to, like similar with the chess piece, we just need to revolve it around the axis. So if you click revolve and then you click that axis, then it revolves it around. And then now we have a vase. So if you click OK, then that's what we have. And then now we can shell the vase and make it into like an actual vase. So you can just click shell, and then you can just select the surfaces, and then if you look into it, it is empty. So, okay. And then next we can change the appearances. So if you go to appearances, or if you go to view and then appearances, we can change it to whatever you want. So I want to choose like some color. A red, okay. So she can select the different like sides and surfaces she wants to make it into that color, and then she can she can select it again. Okay, and then now she has colored her vase red, so a red vase. And if you're interested in trying Creo more, then you can try this project. So let me switch back to my screen. So you can try to use multiple extrusions to create any object that requires shell as a finishing tool. And then add some finishing touches like rounding or chamfering, and then also color your newly created part. And so an example of something that would fit these requirements, that's something you can make, is a top hat. So that's something fun that you can try. Okay, so that is it for our workshop, and we hope that you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, then ask it in the Discord, and this video will be up later on if you would like to watch it for just like practice. Okay, well then, that's it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.